Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Captain Chad here. Man, it's been one of those mornings. You guys ever have those mornings where you feel like super overwhelmed about everything? Like about life in general and, all your responsibilities and things like this? And it's usually not until like something super, super significant, like significantly bad happens in your life that you realize, oh man, all these things that I stress out about and get overwhelmed with don't matter. Because, like, let's just say, for example, your best dog dies. That happened to us. Jax, you see that arena up there? All that fencing? When he died, the world shook, the world stopped. It was terrible. It was the worst thing to ever happen up to date. And in our little short career here, 8 years so far, he was my wife's dog. Best story for another time. Maybe my wife and I will sit down and eventually talk about that, and just share a little bit more with the world about what he meant to us and what he still means to us till this day, because we wouldn't be here even making this video talking about dog stuff if it wasn't for him. But I remember during that time, and it lasted for a while, where all the little things didn't really bother me at all. Like being too busy, being stressed out, not having a good golf day yesterday. It was absolutely horrendous. I mean, I shot an 87, so really, in hindsight, it wasn't really that bad. But I shot a 78 like 2 weeks prior, so I have this like crazy expectation in my mind that I'm like actually a good golfer now, which is definitely not the case. But anyway, that's just the type of morning I've been having. And I was just talking to Kyla, my wife. I walked in there, but before I walked in there, I made sure to have like a little meditation with myself. I sat down at my computer. I woke up this morning to dog shit everywhere. My dog has an upset stomach, and she completely fucking destroyed my office. There's shit everywhere. A couple of the dogs that I have right now for board and train seem to not really have much brain matter up top, and I let them outside to go to the bathroom. The schedule's really consistent. I go through the exact protocol that I go through with all the dogs, in which case it works. When you have your dog on a good schedule in terms of potty training, you start to learn their patterns, and you set them up for success in reference to going pee pee poo poo in the potty time where they're supposed to, when they're supposed to. But some of them don't really register things, and it's like there's like some sort of glitch in their mind, so that they're gonna pass up the opportunity to go outside and wait until they get back inside their kennel where they lie. It's not a normal thing for a dog to choose to shit where they lay. Okay, that's a completely abnormal thing. There's something wrong with that dog, especially when they're given every opportunity in the world to go outside. Okay, but in any case, that was my morning, and that's where the frustration began. I woke up to disaster after disaster, and I started to really let that shit bottle up. And then I thought, you know what? Consciously, I can't go into my house right now when my wife's in there doing such a good job running this operation. We are an extremely busy small business. Hey, come here, freak. Yes. We're as busy as we can possibly be and still do a good job, okay? And that's a lot. And I'm not complaining. That's the thing. Like, that's why I told her, I said, babe, I'm having a morning with big feelings. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I was just sort of meditating. I sat down and I became really conscious of how I was feeling and listened to some music. I like this song, "These Beautiful Things That I Got, Please." That song like makes me really happy, so I was listening to that. And I calmed down, I kind of got my thoughts together, and I went in there, and I was very just conscious of how I was feeling before I got in there, because I don't want to stress my wife out. I don't want to let my stresses and all this stuff out here that I asked for leak into my relationship with my wife. So I was like, babe, I'm just having big feelings, and I was just meditating. And she goes, oh, because it's like something that I have to work on, right? And especially when it comes to like working with dogs. You can't work with dogs and be frustrated and pissed off. Dogs are like a mirror of our energy. They're a mirror of us. They mirror shit, right? So for me, when I'm working with dogs, I got to have a blank canvas. And that's where I'm at now. I feel a lot better after sort of being conscious and talking about my feelings and kind of, working on having like a little bit of a better mindset and thinking about things. Because at the end of the day, one thing I've realized is that life is all perspective. And we get to sort of choose our perspective. And so as I continue to converse with my wife, come on, mama. It's a new platform for her, so she thinks there's fucking hot lava on top of it. But, oh, she almost did it. I was like, babe, life has problems, and they're not going to go away. I could complain and get overwhelmed and pissed off and let it ruin my day, or I could choose to have the right perspective and realize I asked for all of this. Get to problem solving, man. Get to problem solving. It's the only thing that's going to make things better. And I certainly don't want things to get worse. So that was my morning. And this is supposed to be, dog training content, but it is what it is. I'm just going to start being consistent with this platform and try to connect with people. I love YouTube. I don't know, there's something different about it. There's a lot of weasels and a lot of haters and keyboard warriors that show up in my comments. But hey, I appreciate you guys too, man. You guys have really helped. I have almost 18,000 subscribers. I almost had 18,000 subscribers. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't really be that far. I only started doing YouTube like 6 months ago. 18,000 subscribers 6 months ago. That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, for those of you supporting the content and you appreciate the content, shit, keep doing what you do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's a beautiful thing. But with this little dog, talk about being overwhelmed and pissed and anxious and have all these feelings going into a training session. This is a tiny ass dog, but let me tell you something. She is a handful, boy. She's a handful. She's a lot of dog. Okay, there's a lot of energy bouncing off of this dog. And if I didn't have a blank canvas, boy, our energy would be fucking battling with each other. And that ain't no recipe for success, is it? Not at all. And you can see so far in this video, this is a real challenge for her to even consider getting up here. So one of the things I like to do if a dog is being sketchy and very skeptical about just doing something so simple as getting up on a platform on her own, I'll come down on her level here. Good. Put a piece of food on top of it. She takes the food from the top of it. That's the first step of That's the first step to realizing that it's not hot lava after all. And she's going to show defiance. I just have the leash to sort of steer her away from going into full flight mode, because when fear sets in, flight mode is one of the options. You got fight, flight, avoid, submit. Okay, so fear can go a multitude of different directions. Okay, but in this particular instance, fear is going to flight. And I don't want to let her run away from the problems. But at the same time, I don't want to drag her up here. I'm just keeping her from running away from the problem by just, holding onto the leash. And then taking a piece of food and trying to continue encouraging her. Come on. And then you could also just show her. Good. That's good. And when you show her just by putting her up on it, giving her some squeezes. She's giving my arm a little lickerton. Right on. Good. Good girl. Good girl, Penny. Okay, free. Let's see if we can get her up. Come on up. Yes. Look at the progress. Look at the progress. Now, if I took her over to the arena where there's these other platforms that she's familiar with, we're going to end the video on this. Come on up. We're going to end the video on this. Come on up. Good. Good job. People bring me their dogs and they're like, my dog can do X, Y, Z. And then I ask them to perform the X, Y, Z. And the dog won't do it. And the reason the dog won't do it is because there hasn't been enough, there hasn't been enough looks for the dog. If you do the same shit in the same place and you don't practice all the different things, the behaviors, jumping up on all sorts of different platforms, different textures, different things, they're only going to do it in the kitchen right before you feed them food, because it's the only familiar place. And that's why the world is your training facility. No matter where you go, there's going to be opportunities to help build confidence, to help work obedience, and it's a daily practice. In dog training, and I was reminded of this last night because one of my clients actually admitted this, which is just so big of her, and I appreciate her for this, is expecting instant gratification. So many times people think they're just, because we're in the era of social media and You know, people expect things right away. Like, dude, do you expect to get in shape right away? That's obviously unrealistic. So I don't think, you know, expecting your dog to be the dog that you envision before you've actually gone through the work and earned it is very realistic. So that's all there is to that. You're not gonna. So just get that through your head and get back to the drawing board and get your butts back to work, because your relationship with your dog depends on it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Free. Good dog.